hit 2, 3, 4 villages before we get there. And you know what, this is a good opportunity here to do both kind of battles. We can do an open field battle versus this Valandian force, and we can do a siege defense. So welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. We continue to help you in your Nord campaign. Ironically, we're going to be volunteering to fight with the Botanians here. That's the only way we can get warfare right now with the Valandians. We want some more battles for this mini-series where we help you with difficult situations against Valandian forces. In this case, we're going to have two different battles here. We're going to have an open field battle. What I'm going to do right before we engage here is save. We will sneak into the castle, defend via castle defense, and then we will reload and fight out in the open. In other words, attack the enemy Valandians from the outside with the help of the garrison. So you'll note that we have a huge army here. We just had a quest come back, so we're way over the maximum. This is not the number I would recommend. See the middle there, men within party size, minus 1.1. We have way too many troops. That said, we have a lot of militia and volunteers that are still deserting at the bottom here. I'll remind you, you want to organize your troops top down. That way the deserters come from the bottom of our list here. We've got some upgrades to do, and I've got a couple villages to hit before we get close enough for combat. We're going to have at least one more deserter check, but this is one of the ways that you can sustain all these extra troops and not worry too much about the deserters. That is to recruit even more troops. It might be counterintuitive. We're literally going to get 50 deserters here when we get the next deserter check. I say all the time, maybe it'll be 40. It's a ratio of the troops you're over your maximum. Here, we're 103 troops over our maximum. We're probably going to lose both of these divisions, the highborn youth and the volunteer. And that's okay if we do, because we'll lose 36 troops instead of being at, 249. Maybe we enter this battle. Okay, we lost 26. And again, just so you see it, right? We didn't lose all of those highborn youths. The deserter check comes every 24 hours. So as long as we can attack before noon of the next day, then this will work out. Okay, I was about to say, don't make peace with the Valandians here. You'll ruin my episode. And we might get one more deserter check, but you keep on recruiting here, right? Because you need these troops for siege defense. You need them for open field battle. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and save. What we'll do again, this first battle, we're going to sneak inside the castle here. We're going to do a siege defense. It's extra important as a mercenary that you have the right army composition to defend sieges. All the time I see guys doing it with 110 infantry and 12 archers. Make sure you have it the other ratio here. Make sure you have your archers be 70% of your force. That way we can shoot the enemy, right? We're going to get off the walls. We're going to hold the inner courtyard. And we might have one more deserter check before we get in. But we didn't, right? How nice is that? So 238 troops that we get to sneak inside the city. Why is that important? That's very simple. That's because when you sneak inside the city in a situation like this, you lose about 30% of your troops. So we lose 40. We're still going to have a lot of troops once we get inside, right? Instead of having 238 or whatever, we'll have almost 200 troops. We're going to say, go ahead with that. Now we're inside the castle. Now, we've got a fire catapult to use. Of course, we're going to try to get a hold of that fire catapult early on here, but we should be able to make mincemeat of the enemy in this situation. Our main character here is low level. Let's note his level 15, because that's about to change dramatically in this battle. If you have it, you want a speed banner. I'm going to be moving around quickly, and we don't have one. That's all right. We can still make this work. All right, in we go. And you can tell already from the power bar that we got a definitive shot to win this siege, but we're not just going to win it. We're going to dominate this shit, right? We're going to put all kinds of archers in the courtyard here, and we're going to obliterate the Valandians. It's very probable that they're going to leave, at which point we will want to sally out and make sure they can't escape, right? We're going to gun them all down. Now, the first thing I did is tell our troops, get off the walls, right? You want to do that early on so all your archers don't get smoked up there. This is a tried and tested strategy here. I've got 3 archer divisions. I have almost 100 archers in our army. It's probably on the almost too much size, but I think it's still going to be just right. Now, the other thing we're going to do, using that transfer command, F3, F5, is we're going to make a nice big first division. I'm going to stick those guys right here in front of the gate. The other infantry, they can just be kind of down here. At some point or other, I may call them and say, get over here. Now, the rest of the archers are following me here. In fact, they're jamming up the ladders. You can tell it looks like a mosh pit over there. I'm just going to put the archers here in big, long lines. I want them gunning down anything that gets up on the walls here, right? So we can jump over all this shit here and put another big, long line of archers right there. And then let's go ahead and put one more archer division up here near the gate. Now, I want to get to a fire catapult here as I play demolition derby with my units. Notice what's going on here, too. The AI units are trying to get up to the walls, and our archers are basically jammed up against their units. That can be a problem sometimes, but I think it's going to be just fine in this instance. Now, the AI is getting up here on the walls. And join some of these guys here. We've got a huge Zerg already as different troops run this way and that, and I can't tell if there's fire catapults up there. Oops. The easy way to find out where your catapults are is just to hold the Alt button. I've got a catapult over there. There's nothing up there, right? And so by seeing with our little X-ray vision here, I can say, okay, the fire catapult's probably right there. And it looks like it's way over here. That's not good, right? Because we need our fire catapult over the wall, over the center of the gatehouse. I thought there was a fire catapult here. I could be wrong. It doesn't look like there is one, which means we'll have to fight this the old-fashioned way with troops, with men, right? Now, again, we've got heaps of archers down here. There's a huge amount of archers right there. That's 37. And let's put these guys in a shield wall. We talked about that in the previous episode. If you want your archers to do the most amount of damage in a small space, put them in a shield wall. You can see my line there. The guys are going to be elbow to elbow over the course of that whole distance. Make sure that they can see, right, where the enemy's going to be coming through. And then, once you do that, we talked about this last episode, you want to make sure that you tell them line formation and then stop almost simultaneously. And they will whip out their bow and put their shield away. Now, the enemy's coming through the gate here. Of course, we want to throw the rocks, right? Inside the gatehouse, there will be rocks. The gatehouse can be perilous, right? There can be all kinds of enemy forces up there. So I just told our infantry to follow me. I want some help. Looks like we've got some Battanians already helping us here. There are Valandians now pounding on the door. Let's chuck some rocks on their head, right? Most castles will have this rock pile right next to the main gate here. It's super devastating to the enemy and beneficial for your character to just lob these like crazy. I thought we had a fire catapult. They must have destroyed it with a trebuchet when I wasn't looking. But either way, we're doing a number to the enemy just with these standard rocks. I probably killed 50 troops right there. All right, yelling and screaming down here. Now note, I made no effort to destroy siege weapons, right? To destroy siege towers. This siege tower still has half of its health. We could try to destroy it. You could throw racks at it. You could hit it with throwing axes and stuff like that, but we don't need to. Not with the force that we have inside this castle. I've got this posse of infantry following me still. It's not the worst thing in the world for you to do that, especially if you're less experienced in siege defense. Keep that posse next to you to protect you. Now this division here, this is our first division in that square. We've been doing that this whole campaign. We're just going to keep these guys right here near the main gate. We've got archer firing squads. Everywhere you look, there's archers shooting. Those are our archers, and they're going to be racking up kills. The Valandians are starting to storm through the main gate. Let's put these 3 divisions of infantry over there, because it's javelin throwing time here, right? We've got javelins with our character. The Valandians are looking the other way. They're being shot by tons of archers. There are some Valandians coming up the back door here, but we've got pretty solid archers. They're not just going to melt. In fact, they're going to blast these guys. They're going to blast them right out of here. Now, I had those 3 of the divisions of infantry, right? 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Let's bring them over here and put them right at the steps. Now, this division, I don't want these guys doing this. These are our archers attacking the enemy. They will do that if the enemy's too close to them. They're trying to defend themselves. You can back them up, and generally that'll clear them from all this infantry. Now the infantry's still wailing away on our square. In fact, our square is starting to take a drubbing there. It's down to 25 guys, but it's good infantry. We've got a good commander there. And these look like Valandian reinforcements coming up here. Make sure these guys keep shooting. And our archers in all their different locations, just firing away, right? This is again and again why we recommend 60, 70, even 80% archers. It's not crazy in the mercenary stage. Our Valandians here, or our Battanian forces that are with us here, are helping, right? They're doing plenty of offense on their own, and the enemy just routed, right? They couldn't get through our defenses here. Our archers are giving them the what for as they retreat. We can cut down some of these guys. And we're going to sally out now and destroy this Valandian force, right? They just got destroyed inside our castle. We probably have 50 losses, if I had to guess, maybe less. Well, a lot less. We had 26 losses here. And my horse is just begging me to ride it. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. So our army is largely unaffected by this siege. We gained a huge amount of kills, a bunch of influence. Now it's time to attack this force outside the city. They're gonna quickly regather their forces and attack. This is from a mod we're using. This restores the loot in between siege battles. We'll take all this loot. And now we're gonna pause immediately here and attack. We're not about to let this Valandian scum get away. Make sure our character here is in good shape. We gained some skills there from chucking all those rocks. All right, and let's keep on powering. Let's keep powering our endurance here, right? We're definitely getting our endurance, athleticism, riding skill rocketed to the moon. Now we're going to say sally out from the gate. And it doesn't look like an easy battle, but the reason you want to do this is I want all these Valandians. I don't want them escaping. I don't want any other Battanian force coming over and attacking them. I want them all to ourselves. Now, the little tiny force of the garrison came out with us. We don't give a shit about that. We're going to do this shit on our own. Now, they're liable to suicide, that garrison, so we do want to use them here. It's nice. We get the setup screen here. I did not anticipate this. This is gravy. Now, we don't have a skirmisher captain, but that's okay. In fact, like we've done before, we're going to run just a single infantry division. We have a few cavalry here, and we're going to use this elevated hill over here. So 4th and 5th division, something like that. Now we're uphill. Advantage us, right? In the last episode, we had a ranged skirmish against the Valandians, and it looks like we're going to have another one here. Our enemy's reeling here. They're pulling back because they realize that they're in trouble. Now, again, they're going to have crossbow, right? We've talked about that before. The Valandians will have longer range than us because they have crossbow, but we're uphill. That's going to be an advantage for us, and we have way more archers. The enemy has 56 archers. We've got like 130 or something like that. So this is just going to be a firing squad. Now, our ally here is suiciding. This is the garrison. They're going to do not so smart things, aka charging right into the scrum. We sort of want to use them. So what I would recommend you do is just move your troops forward. The enemy's a long ways away. We've talked about the range. You want to attack the enemy. We're too far. I don't think you want to be shooting your arrows anything more than 130 meters. I think optimal range for shooting your arrows, about 100 meters, 80 meters. Anything less than that, and the enemy's too close, right? You should be opening fire before you're 60, 70, 80 meters away. That's too far. And now, we just systematically move up our archers here. This Valandian force is toast. I can do this like on fast forward, right? Their cavalry is going to come in and, you know, sort of haplessly try to attack us, but they are going to be blasted. Not only do we have tough infantry just waiting for them here, but then behind them, there's just a huge amount of archers. Now we can charge with this infantry. This infantry is being attacked by their cavalry. Those guys can charge. They will kind of run every which direction, but the reason we're going to win this battle demonstratively, of course, is our archers. They're charging right through the center here. Our infantry rolls up. We could square our infantry here, but I'm going to be a little lazy. In fact, at this stage, you could just charge with everybody. This Valandian force is wrecked. They're going to cause some damage here with the core of their army because, of course, there's a bunch of infantry here, but it's really not going to amount to a whole lot. Their lord is here just looking around. No idea what they're doing. It's like, something hit me. What was that? I can't tell what it was. I'm killed. Now they're charging our archers. We're starting to run out of infantry here. That's fine. We got lots of archers and they're better than the enemy. I'm just going to fast forward it because this battle is over. The death spam flushes green as our archers execute the remaining Valandians, and we get victory. Now we're going to get hordes of Valandian lords from this. This is going to be incredibly powerful for our mercenary stage. Of course, we'll get more influence. And now we can turn all these Valandian lords over for influence. Now, I'll remind you, we're going to fight this whole battle again. We're going to fight it the harder way. This is much easier, right? We still have more than our maximum of troops, despite all that carnage. Of course, what you want to do here, since we're right next to a Battanian castle, is take their highest troops. We're going to donate them to the prison here. Take a few more. We've got 50 upgrades out of that battle. Of course, why are we getting so many upgrades? Because our archers are not dying. They're killing a lot of people. In fact, almost every upgrade here is archers. Now, we're actually starting to get unbalanced as far as the ratio. Now we're 80% archers, but we're going to roll with it at least for a little while in this episode and in this mercenary stage. A nice pile of loot here. We can finally upgrade our grubby bearhead there, put on some real armor, and we're rolling right along here. Now let's see what kind of influence we get, because it's incredible how much you get in a situation like this. You go enter the castle, go to the dungeon, and donate prisoners. They have a lot of room for prisoners here. That's good, because we happen to have a lot of prisoners, right? So we'll go organize it by count is the easiest way to do it. I'm just going to click, click, click. I'm just going to give up all these Valandian scum. After all, we're trying to make this a Nord campaign. Leave a little bit of room here so that we can toss all these lords in the dungeon as well. We'll keep one of them just for good measure. 238 influence. I want to say we're getting paid 350 or something like that in influence from the Valandians. We just got incredibly rich. In fact, our mercenary contract is kind of it's a funny looking number. It's not it's not normal, of course, in a campaign for you to see that, but it might be once you start executing tactics with the right army composition. All right. What I'm going to do here is actually make a separate save game, because we're going to continue from this state. I actually want to see how we can do with 80% archers, try to show you some of that, but the next thing you're going to see is us fight that same Valandian force outside. And what that'll simulate is a battle in the open field where you're fighting with a Battanian ally. Let's get to that next battle. All right, so in an instance for you, we reload the game here. We're right before we snuck inside the castle. Now we're going to fight this force outside. Now, I want to reiterate, most of the time you're not going to make this decision. That's because we're badly outnumbered here. We're going to get the garrison to sally out. Sometimes the militia will fight, but we're seriously going to be outnumbered here. In fact, I don't know if I did this the first round. We'll go ahead and recruit every single little militia and everything else. We're going to need it, right? We're outnumbered here almost 2-to-1 against a huge Valandian force. Again, not advisable, but this will be a good example of what to do in a situation where you're really caught with your pants down. You're going to run into this situation in your Bannerlord campaign, fighting with an ally here, right? We've got a bunch of Afroed militia and grubby garrison forces here. Can you win this kind of a battle? I don't think we can, but we're going to do everything we can to try to win this battle. And then, like I said, this series will continue on with that other save game. Now, one thing you want to do is you want to change your unit prioritization here. You want to go in here to this and say, okay, well, you want to make sure it's on the highest level. I thought we might be on homogeneous. That's the right setting. That way we get the highest number of good troops in this battle. We're basically competing with this garrison for troops on the battlefield in the initial wave. You get a ratio of troops based on the how badly outnumbered you are at the beginning. Here we're outnumbered by almost 2-to-1. That means out of the 1,000 troops on the battlefield, the Valandians will have 6 something, and we're going to have 3 something. We obviously don't want to have a portion of our troops because we had a different unit spawn prioritization. All right, in we go here. And unlike the previous battle, I think we're going to get tossed right in here, right? We're joining a battle that's in process. So what do? Click one of your units and just catch your breath here, right? As a newer player, take advantage of this feature. I'm looking around here. We've got, it looks like 80 infantry and 72 battalions. Those are the garrison, and we want to be near those guys. Basically, we're forced here on some level to fight with these guys, but what I'd recommend is you back up, right? Play defense, let them take the brunt of the force. We're going to move our forces here into the trees, but we're going to keep a close eye on our ally. Again, they're the apple green, we're sort of the teal color here. Now we're going to get archers back here. Something like that. I'm trying to use these trees because the enemy has cavalry. They have 250 cavalry, 252 infantry, and a lot of archers, crossbow to boot. Is obviously a situation we're going to lose, or most of the time we're going to lose. But let's see what we can do here. Let's get tactical. Let's feed them a square. We're going to put a square out front and basically offer that to the enemy. Say, please attack this. In fact, let's combine it with half of our skirmishers. So now our 6th division is much reduced in troops, but we have a nice big square out in front. And then what we can also do is get... where's our ally going? They're like going up the hill here. I'm going to try to get a little closer to them here. So square out in front. Let's put our cavalry in a shield wall right behind our square, right? So that's our square. Let's put it out there a little ways. Cavalry like that. And then our skirmishers. Oh, did I combine them all? It looks like I did. All of our infantry's now in the 1st division. That's actually just fine. And look what's happening. Already the AI is being drawn to our square. That's really good for us, right? All these Valandian forces, them going to our square instead of our archers is what we want. Now, we're still going to want to kite here with these forces. I'm going to charge. Their cavalry is completely bound up on that square. Let's pound them here for a bit, but it's temporary. Their infantry block is coming as well. The difference between charging with the square and just having them stand there is huge. They will try to kill if you tell them to charge. Now, what I'm going to do with those 52 guys is say square. And then I'm just going to position them right here. Right there, right where that green is. And let's back our archers up here. I hate moving our archers while they're being charged by cavalry, but we can't have all these guys flattened by this huge Valandian Zerg. You got to keep your archers clear of their infantry. Their infantry's down there. We're moving back here and kind of dealing with cavalry charging through. But these guys are at least slowed, right? They're going uphill. They're still chasing us here. The number one thing here is to make sure your archer divisions don't get flattened by all these Valandian infantry. And it is happening, unfortunately. It's at least only one of our 2 divisions. It's interesting. Most of them have left our square alone. Let's just bring it back here. The Valandians are doing probably the best thing they could do, and that is ignore that square. Now, of course, your job, get in here and try to protect your guys, right? The guys that are dealing with cavalry charging through here, get in their face, try to kill them if you can. And this infantry that's heading for our archers, right? Help these guys out too, right? Slash the shit out of them. Die, Valandia. Now, our square is finally being devoured. It actually looks like a buffet. Every single Valandian is attacking the square. Take your shots here, right? Just go along the outside of it. They're basically completely entranced by that square and just hack and slash at these guys. The square is still alive. There's 23 guys in it. It's amazing. Archers are now starting to rake right there uphill. Let's join our lads on foot for the rest of this battle. They're starting to push in here, so let's keep backing up our archers. Now, it's perfectly fine to charge here with your archers, but if they do that, if they turn around, just stay right where we are here, right? Just keep on gunning them down. They're starting to scream. What's our ally doing? They're hiding. Yeah, coming for me, huh? Oh, you want some? They're zerging our square again, right? Now, that doesn't always happen. If your square gets completely ignored, remember, just to keep bringing it back to where you are. I'm going to charge at these archers. I want them getting closer. Of course, archers do more damage when they're closer. Right? The square is starting to break down, it looks like. There's 6 guys left, though. It's holding out. That is the power of a square. That good defense. Of course, we have good units in it, too. Now, you don't want to get smoked by all these... Oh, shit. I'm in trouble. Yeah, I just got killed. That's all right. Let's go ahead and reorganize our lines here. What do we have? We have 86 archers. I'm just going to pull them way up here towards the top of the screen. Our ally is being quite coward-like. That's okay. And you know what I see? I see Valandians that are straight out running here. I think this battle is over. Let's see if they're just reforming here.
Stay close.
I think they're... Well, they might be regrouping. Let's pursue. Of course, you know, we got to stay with our ally here, but it does seem like this battle is over. Now, this has not been as successful as that siege defense. It's usually not going to be, right? Your siege defenses are going to be, obviously, being inside a castle, you're going to have a lower rate of attrition. But I think this Valandian force is routed. That's the sign they have routed. And it's not as successful here, although maybe it is. 174. Oh, no, 103. So we only have 103 survivors here. We're also going to take a lot less Valandians to capture. I can't remember how many total we killed there. But between those two battles, that getting into the castle was certainly more beneficial. But we just won an improbable battle here, outnumbered 2-1, and almost half of our forces left alive. Right? We're going to still get rewards here. Now, understand, I'm going to reload the previous save game. What's happening here? I guess those are the forces that ran. Okay. And all I could do is command the battle. Now, I could just auto-resolve. Right? A huge difference between this, right? We're going to suffer grievous losses auto-resolving. So don't do that. Of course, if you're on the console, this is a problem, right? Your character can't command. You're probably going to get killed. I'm just going to do this using the RTS mod real quick here to end this episode. And we're going to give our spiel, because these two episodes combined, this will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of, I guess it'll be a 30-minute episode or two. We're trying to keep these episodes truncated, but there's a lot of information to put over in a situation like this. All right, so here, pretty simple strategy. Our allies up on the top of the hill here. We just want to be on the opposite side. When you're fighting with an ally, put the enemy between you. That way they have a nasty choice of attacking one or the other, and whoever they attack, they get shot in the back by the other one here. This is going to be wildly more successful than that auto-resolve. In fact, we hardly suffered any losses. So it's another good reason to try to keep your character alive. Obviously, we can fight this using the RTS mod, but without it, right, you guys are auto-resolving. You might even lose that battle. So a complete massacre, though, of the Valandians here in this secondary battle. Now we take a bunch of their lords prisoner, but not nearly the rewards that we got from that castle defense. I just wanted to give you this option, right? You're going to get trapped in the open sometime. Maybe we have even more troops that made it through that battle. That is amazing, man. We have 209 troops and a bunch of upgrades to do, so I don't know. Oh, well, anyways, this series continues. We'll take these prisoners just in case. If you want to see more from this series, if you want to dominate with your Nords, we're going to continue to cover the different scenarios that'll help you dominate in your campaign. We're going to get back to Nordland here. I'm going to grab a boat. In fact, we've got to do some ocean combat in this campaign. We got a little shipyard right here. We can get some longboats, maybe a Britannian boat to mix in it. We're going to hit the seas. We're also going to have some battle against the Northern Empire and the Khazate with our Nord force. We'll try to find scenarios that you're going to experience in your campaign. We'll try to guide you through those, and hopefully it'll help you have a lot of success in your campaign. Of course, if you want to see more from our series, from our channel, please subscribe. Hit that like button on the way out, friends. Have your mom watch it. And I will see you, friends, next time.